The Hell Fucking Yeah podcast.
Just give me 1 second here. I just want to see something. No, I can't do that. There we go. Okay. They have this new immersive mode on here where you can like be sitting in a kitchen together or something.
A kitchen? Oh,
Yeah.
Where we have like the same background or something?
Yeah. I got to try that out one day.
Can I see it?
You know what? Let's try it. Fuck it.
Yeah. Let's cook. Let's cook together.
Kitchen, 2 seats. Oh, fuck off. No way.
Oh, man. We're in the weapons room of the Matrix.
Are you?
Whoa.
Do you see your background still?
I see me sitting in a kitchen, yeah. But no, I mean like my regular setting.
What's funny is
see any...
I see a square of you, but I'm just in the kitchen. Maybe it record. I don't know. That's weird.
I only see what was originally behind me.
Right.
This isn't funny anymore.
No. Let's go back. Yes, stop immersive. Okay, there we go. That needs work. So John Ehlers, I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome. First of all, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Yeah, you got a cat behind you giving me the middle finger. So today's a good day.
I do. He's so fucking rude.
Yeah. What's he so mad about?
I don't. You know what? It's a good question, man. What is your problem? Where are you?
I'm at home. I'm in Brooklyn. My apartment. Yeah, just hanging out. Sitting in the kitchen. I'm on a pirate ship. We're about to loot some do-gooders.
Yeah.
Is that more interesting?
Very interesting, man.
I'm not at home right now. I'm in the bottom of the pirate ship.
That's sick, man. I'm on Long Island.
Yes.
I am.
My original stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Born and raised around Concomitant.
Same here. I actually live in Lake Grove. So
we were neighbors.
We were neighbors. Couple steps down the road, and I'm in Lake Ronkonkoma. I mean, my parents' house is in Lake Ronkonkoma Street. You know Street?
It's been a while. I know I've been on it. Where was?
Well, this will definitely refresh your memory. So, 5 Corners.
Mm-hmm.
You know 5 Corners.
Yeah.
So the other side of Sachem North.
Okay. Yeah.
The other side of 5 Corners, like where Sachem North is.
Oh, in that neighborhood there.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I knew a couple of people that lived in there.
Right. Because I've been fucking I mean, it's been a long life for me, but I've been scratching my brain, man, trying to figure out how I know you. Besides BANGLADEAFY.
I have a couple of theories.
Okay.
I've been going to shows for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably seen you at a lot of shows. That might have been what it was.
That's a big possibility.
I think something about your face. I associate with maybe the Mod Center, or shows with like On the Might of Princes.
Okay.
Maybe the Funky Fish. Did you hang out there?
I've been there a few times for sure.
Were you friends with Cassie?
Man, that name sounds so familiar. Did she go to?
Did she?
Not to name drop, but did she go to Sachem?
She went to Sachem. Yeah.
Okay. What year did she graduate? Do you know?
2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I graduated in '99. So you know how Sachem North was with the 2 years, new school.
Yeah. Right. I probably bumped into you between North and South.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of action happening between the 2 schools, particularly in the woods.
Yes, the woods right outside of South.
Right outside of South.
Yes.
The hill.
Oh man, that's
That's probably where I bumped into you.
I spent most of my time.
Yeah, I was in there a lot. I had long hair. It was usually in a ponytail. It was shaved up on the side, so basically a mohawk.
Okay.
I had black nail polish. I had mesh on, wearing like a mesh shirt.
Okay.
So that rings a bell.
Well,
that was pretty standard.
To be honest with you,
at the time.
it actually does ring a bell because
It does, right?
I dressed the same since like I was 5 years old.
Okay.
I'm 40 now, so I don't think there's anything distinct about me back then that would be like, all right. But I always hung around the weirdos, you know? So, and there wasn't many of them. There was a handful.
Do you remember Beat the Freak Week?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, apparently that was very unique to Long Island, or particularly maybe Sachem and Connecticut.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a Ronkonkoma thing, because I talked to people about that from other parts of Long Island and further out, and they're like, that wasn't a thing. We didn't have that. Like, if someone dressed a little weird, we would either choose to avoid them or just embrace them because they weren't that weird to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a very uniquely macho Sachem thing.
Yeah. And no surprise there. I mean, their biggest feat is the football team. You know what I mean?
The football team.
That's all they care about. They really don't. Yeah. I mean, I didn't learn anything. I don't know about you. But, I learned everything after high school, you know?
I learned everything in summer school.
Yeah. I had a couple of those. I had a couple of summer school sessions. Those are fun. Oh, yeah. But I do remember the Beat the Freak thing. I remember the stairs at South where you know, if you were a freak, you were getting thrown down those stairs. Mm-hmm. And it was a thing for a while. I think it actually hit the news at one point.
Yep. And then they built the wheelchair ramp, so we hung out there because we had a better chance of surviving getting pushed down.
Yeah.
You would just roll as if you were rolling down a hill.
Right.
It was safer.
Right. I you know, high school, like 11th and 12th, I was just hanging out in the parking lot, you know, like, I mean, I made it just by the skin of my teeth, but the parking lot was my stomping ground there. And so 1999 was the last year it was open campus. And I pride myself on the fact that I have a big part to do with that.
What'd you do?
Yeah, I didn't really do anything. I was just a general troublemaker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I just, I didn't give a fuck about school, and I didn't beat anybody up or anything like that. But I wasn't a tough guy like that. But I just did what I wanted to do, and you know, I think we all took advantage of it. And I think I was a little bit of a leader in that. Like, let's all go to the fucking pizza place, you know? Yeah. Right. And not come back.
No, yeah, it was. I did the same thing. I would cut school because if you came back, you would then get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
If you just left, you would just get marked absent, and maybe you'd get a phone call home.
Right.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
Right.
So I started doing that in 11th grade. I was like, I'm gonna be a good kid up until the end of 10th grade, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
And I took advantage of that as well, and I would just leave and never come back. But I made it too. And now I'm a teacher. So
yeah,
I'm on the other end of it, and I can honestly understand why some kids would want to leave a school in the middle of the day. I get it. I totally get why. So I try and meet them where they are.
Sure. Well, that's great. What made you want to be a teacher, actually?
Try working in pest control for 10 years and realizing that it's not a sustainable lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Just try doing that for 10 years, and something's got to give. Something's got to change. And I was like, you know what? I should probably put my brain to work. And that's what I did. I just set out to do it.
Yeah.
And I made it. Saved my life, I would say, for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Because I was headed down a dark path.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like no way out. It felt like there was no way out, but I was just like, you know what? We just accrue a little bit of student loans, but it'll pay off for me in the long run. And so far, I can say that is true.
That's so fucking great to hear. Yeah, my wife's in education. She's been doing it for a long time. She's more on the administrator side now. But you guys had
an end goal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Administrative.
You guys had a rough year last year, 2020 with with the shutdown and everything, how did you handle that, doing your job that fulfills you that you couldn't do, or you had to do differently and adapt?
I would say that I was one of I was of the group. I don't want to say majority or minority because I'm not really sure. I mean, time will tell. There was a mass exodus. A lot of people retired early. A lot of people just left and just decided to do a different profession. I would say that I was of the persuasion that I adapted. I think I adapted pretty well because I was still a new teacher. So I didn't really have my, I didn't have my routine set in stone yet. So it was kind of like, well, I'll just roll with the punches here.
Sure.
I'm still trying to prove myself. So let me just prove myself by making online programs and lessons as fun as I possibly can for these kids. They're bored too.
Right.
They don't want to be here too. I mean, to sit in front of a computer for 8 hours is not natural. So it's not natural for me as an adult. It's probably hell for teenagers. So
yeah.
I was just like, all right, let me see what I could do. And I felt like I did pretty good. And now we're going to be going back to in person, and that's gonna be telling as well because I am expecting a gap or a stunted growth in maturity and social skills. So
Sure.
We're gonna have to deal with that. That's gonna be something we're gonna have to deal with, like 2 years worth of that. That's gonna be interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. This is not over. It's not over.
Definitely not.
And everything that I'm estimating right now might not even be true. It might not even be true, and time will tell.
Sure. Well, I wish you the best with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And thanks for doing that job. It's a tough job, and I think it's an underrated job in view in our society. It really is.
It's thankless.
Yeah.
I could say pest control was more thankless.
But listen, let's get into the music. For the listeners out there, if you've never heard of his band BANGLADEAFY, check out BANGLADEAFY wherever you stream your music, or on Bandcamp for vinyl, CDs, and merch. How would you describe BANGLADEAFY?
Oh, that's always such a tough question.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that one day it will be more accessible. That's like an end goal for me, that it will be more accessible.
Sure.
In terms of less abrasive or less confusing, because I don't know, abrasiveness is always something that evolves with being accessible. I feel like if you compare music now to music back then, I would say it's pretty abrasive now. It's always been evolving. So what BANGLADEAFY is now,
mm-hmm.
I would say it's okay. So you have live drumming with a lot of electronic elements in it. The electronic elements are live as well, so it's not. So when you hear electronic, I don't want you to think like techno or something, because it is being performed live. But,
right.
Yeah, it's crunchy. It's a lot of energy in it.
Absolutely.
It's a combination of influences. We do get a lot of attention in the metal audiences, which is pretty strange because we've never had a guitar player. I played bass in it for the longest time, but now I just play keyboards. But I try and make that stuff loud and in your face, and I think that's where the appeal comes from.
Yeah.
And the screaming, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
when we were first going back, sorry to cut you off. Yeah. When we were first going back and forth, and I was like, how would I put this in a genre? Because there's a lot of elements in there, like you said. And I said industrial metal, which it could kind of fit in there. Yeah. You said synth punk, which that works too. It's it encompasses a lot of different things, and you're obviously a fan of music, of many different genres, because you can hear it all in there. So it's just you and the drummer. Help me out with his name. I don't want Atif.
Atif Hawk.
Atif. You know, I actually would have said that.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me not butcher this 7 letters of someone's name.
You just got to be confident. You got to believe in yourself. Yeah.
I'm suck at pronouncing names, so I always ask first, because there's been times where I was like out of the ballpark.
People have said hack.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't even try.
Right. No, Hawk. I actually said Hawk in my head, but so yeah, 2 guys. It's an incredible amount of noise. It really is. The music, it's loud. Spectrum. It's loud. It's fast. It's frantic. But if you're fucked up enough in the head, like me, you can find like a center of tranquility in it.
Oh yeah.
Like without a doubt, it's trance-inducing.
That would be where the groove is. I think what you're feeling there would be the groove. There is a central groove. We don't write as frenetically as we used to. Where, you know, when you're younger, I totally get it. You can see a lot of bands that do this. When they're younger and they are feeling confident in their skills, they will write very frenetic and disjointed music, because it's exciting. It's fun. It's exciting to the audience. It's exciting to the musician themselves. They feel like something's been accomplished. And then I feel like a natural progression as you get older, you're just like, okay, how can I exploit one rhythm in many ways where it's like, okay, this is the bass, there is a groove here, but how can I make it challenging?
Sure.
And I feel like that might be the point where we're at now, because we're both pushing 40. We're getting close to 40. And we've been doing it a long time. It's like, how much frenetic music can we actually write where it's just so abrasive and crazy? Like you want to challenge yourself and move on to the next thing. Like, can I make this a little bit more palatable and also have it be crazy? It becomes more nuanced, I guess.
Sure. Well, that really,
I feel like that's what you're referring to.
Yeah. And that really shows on Housefly, which we're definitely going to get into.
Yeah.
But when did the band form, and where did you come up with the coolest fucking band name of all time?
The band actually formed the end of 2009. So we've been around for a long time. We've been doing shows like right from the get-go. Atif and I were in another band before this, and we kind of he named our little subdivision of the band. It was a 4-piece band. He named it BANGLADEAFY. It was just kind of like a running joke. So that name goes back to like possibly 2007.
Wow.
The actual band was born in like 2009. Yeah. So we do have a history. It goes pretty far back, and we're not stopping anytime soon.
I hope not.
We keep ourselves busy. We keep it interesting. We've been through the worst. We've been through the best, you know, and like as we get older, we make better band decisions, better business decisions. So it's a learning process as we go. So.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch on one point that you just said before about writing the music. Mm-hmm. It's funny because it's so frantic, yet it's so tight, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
Would you say every note is accounted for and intentional? Or
every note is a what?
Like, would you say everything's accounted for? Like, there's no happy accidents while you're recording? Just...
Oh yeah, no.
That's insane.
It's all calculated, 100%.
Yeah.
There's like, you know, so to like an untrained ear, like they might think it's or older stuff is like improvised, not improvised. Yeah, it's like very particular, and it's a writing process, you know. It's a manifestation of a lot of different things, like skills, influences, like basically maybe a scale that you're working on at that time. And you always have to be a student in that way, and like that you're kind of presenting you're doing like a book report on something that you're currently working on.
Sure.
And that's the best way I could describe that. Like this.
Sure.
So this is where I've been at during this time. I've been listening to like maybe a lot of this weird scale, this weird time signature, and I've been kind of exploring it a lot. And this is my application of it.
Okay.
And yes, it is. Every note is accounted for, and that's why if you are off like 1/16th note, like the song is going to sound a little funny.
Yeah. Right. No, it's very true.
Or maybe some people might not even notice because accidents do happen.
Right.
But no, it is a manifestation of listening to a part over and over again until you get it right. Practicing it until you get it right. Yeah.
Are there any times where you record a song and like manually speed it up later, or is it's the way it's played is the way it is?
Manually speed like in the studio?
Yeah. Okay.
No, what is recorded is the organic component of it. We don't record to a metronome or anything.
Right.
So like the song does have a feel to it. Where you might notice like some parts will speed up a little bit, just a natural flow to it. That's how we've always been. Where like, although we do we have a reputation for very complex songwriting, we do like to just kind of like expose that very caveman element of music as well. It's like as long as you're following the rhythm, the beat, the tempo is not going to matter too much,
Right.
It's like unless it speeds up, very obviously noticeable. But we try to keep that that organic element to it, and I feel like we've been successful in doing that all across the board. He would go in, he would record a couple of different takes of his drum session, and we just pick the one that we feel works best, has the most emotion to it, and that's the one I would then flesh out.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the records, well, pretty much all of them, they're like 20 minutes or under,
Yeah, it would be like 10 songs, more than 10 songs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're pretty punk rock in that way.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, man. I love that. So you said you play the bass and the synth, but you're more on the synth side now?
Yeah. I felt like I said what I needed to say. Bass, time and time again. I was like, I when we started piecing together Housefly, I was like, I don't want to do another crazy bass album because people are going to expect that.
Right.
And I can't say I set out to make something that was unexpected. I set out to do something I was comfortable with doing, something that I wanted to make for myself. Like I felt like I had to do it. I was exploring a lot of synth pedals at the time for bass, and I was like, you know what? I none of these are getting the sound that I want. Let me just play keyboard because I can play keyboard. Like I just have to get my chops up. So I spent like a year just kind of writing to his drum beats and just trying to like pick up some skill and some accuracy and like working on scales and everything. And then I got to a point I was like, oh yeah, you know what? We could do this. I could do this. I feel comfortable doing it. And I feel more comfortable playing keyboard, but for sure now. But like I said, we had written enough albums where it was very bass centric. I felt like I didn't need to do it again. And whether or not people come expecting to see the bass or me doing all the acrobatic stuff on bass, that's too bad. That's too bad.
You retired the bass.
I still play. Play. I don't want to say that it's 100% certain that I'll never play bass in Bangladeafi again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility. Like maybe my heart will be back in it one day. But I can say you'll probably see me playing bass for somebody else.
Okay.
Like that's
fair. Cool.
That's definitely a possibility.
Okay. So as far as the synth goes, Moog or Korg?
Moog.
Both?
Moog.
Oh, Moog.
Moog.
Moog. I don't know.
100%. Yeah. It's just they're the household name. They put a lot of time into their craft. Korg, I think of as more like a mainstream standard electronics company.
A little more mass produced, yeah.
They're mass produced. They do have some really good flagship stuff. I've actually worked with them before. I did a commercial with them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did a commercial with them. I know some people that work for Korg, but I would sit here and if you would ask me that question, I would have to say Moog.
Definitely, yeah. So the reason I even know any of that, because I don't even, you don't want to hear me play an instrument, believe me.
Yeah.
My brother has a recording studio, and he has, all kinds of gear. And the one thing I was really attracted to was the Moog Voyager. I don't know if you ever got to play on one of those.
Yep. It's very, you don't have to be a musician to appreciate that, like, just like the look, like you got the wood on the sides. It looks like a piece of fancy furniture.
Yeah.
But then, you just fuck around with it, and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. This sounds like a sci-fi movie, or this sounds like an action scene, or whatever sound you're on, whatever patch you're on.
Yeah.
And you just toy around with it. You don't really need to know exactly what you're doing to have fun with it.
Exactly.
And that's why it has a price tag of $3,000 to $5,000.
Right. Now
it's very user friendly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm playing the thing for the first time, and I'm like, I want to make a fucking album. That's how inspiring that thing is. It's insane.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Korg won't really do that. Like it is subjective, but Moog, I think it's just like much more sexier.
Much sexier. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Biggest influences.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an obvious one. It's Trent Reznor.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely Trent.
Trent Reznor, that's number one all the time. Ever since I was a kid. Zach Hill, if you know Zach Hill.
That sounds insanely familiar.
Yeah, he's you probably heard of Death Grips.
Yes, I heard of Death Grips.
He's the drummer of Death Grips. He got his start in like a math rock duo called HELL, which you might have heard of.
Okay, that sounds familiar too.
He does a lot of great stuff. He has a couple of solo albums that just really, really inspired me in the early stages of BANGLADEAFY. So we're talking like my mid-20s, and like, that's a point where I feel like a lot of people are stubborn. Like, oh, I listen to what I've always listened to. You get to that point where you just kind of like your influence aren't really going to change. But no, I discovered him, I feel like, relatively pretty late, and it's just been a steady influence for me. It's like, okay, what would Zach Hill do in this scenario?
Yeah.
It would be either Trent Reznor, Zach Hill, and I would say those are like my main two.
Okay.
And then I would say I have some vocal influences that I've been really tapping into lately, which would be Dennis from Refused. And you like Refused?
Yeah. Yeah.
Refused, and maybe Justin Pearson, who sings for a lot of stuff, like The Locust. He's in Dead Cross. He's not the singer of Dead Cross, but he's in a lot of bands. Because I like that very bratty punk vocal thing, and I feel like those two guys, Refused and The Locust, kind of deliver on that, where it's like in the higher range.
Okay.
Because I've tried to do the deep growly thing, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I just like, let me just sound like a brat. I sound like a bratty punk, and it'll work. And I'll play some keyboard, and I'll just scream over that, and it'll work.
No, it definitely works. The growling thing, I mean, I feel like that's you either have that or you don't,
Or you don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't smoked enough cigarettes.
Right.
In my lifetime. Yeah.
I'm racking my brain for Zach Hill because I know that name. Was there an album cover with like a girl setting fire to something on the front of it? Yeah,
that's actually the album that completely transformed, called Face Tat.
Yes.
Called Face Tat.
Okay.
And when I heard it, I was just like, okay, I got to drop everything I'm doing and dissect.
I remember that. I don't know how I found, shit like that. What I hear in your music a lot is Skinny Puppy.
Skinny Puppy is another one. Skinny Puppy is another one for sure.
I grew up on Skinny Puppy.
Oh, yeah.
My brother's 10 years older than me, so late 80s,
That was.
He's listening. He's in his 20s. He's listening to Ministry, Skinny Puppy, and this is coming through my bedroom wall. You know what I mean? So those were the biggest things that really shaped what kind of music I listen to. I mean, I listen to everything, but I really do love that era. Yes. And I think Skinny Puppy's kind of forgotten about. I don't know.
In America, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm sure in like Germany and shit, they're still, you know.
Yeah, Germany, 100%.
Right.
European countries,
right.
Definitely still idolize it. Skinny Puppy, I think there's some festival that's happening, I think in France, early next year, where it's like Nine Inch Nails, Skinny Puppy, Ministry, and all these other like legendary industrial bands. I'm like, that wouldn't really work in America.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, so you grew up on Skinny Puppy. I'm glad you hear that.
Yeah, I want to keep it alive, man. I want to keep those things alive and like tell the next generation, like, check this out. You might not like it, but check it out. You might.
Yeah. And I'm hearing it emerge. I'm hearing it emerge a lot in newer music.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show like how ahead of their time they were. Like you ever hear
absolutely.
The band Street Sex, SECTS.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, that band. Please check them out. They toured with Daughters recently before the pandemic. Yeah, and they sound like a modern version of like I don't want to say modern because Skinny Puppy's still making music. They sound like where Skinny Puppy was at in the early 90s. They sound like if that sound was modernized because their sound has changed over like the last 40 years. And they're people forget they're older than Nine Inch Nails.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, big time, man.
And like
I mean, remember Pigface?
Pigface. Exactly.
Pigface was like a collaboration of all those bands before
guys.
Trent Reznor was anybody.
Yeah,
you know, he was in that fucking band.
He was in it. Yeah, and that was like the ultimate industrial supergroup, and I feel like they're still around. I think.
I feel like I go on Apple Music and I look at their albums and they're like all the same songs. I feel like they just keep re-releasing shit. Yeah. I don't know if they put out anything in a while, but that old stuff is incredible.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
I love hearing those names because those are the conversations I like to have. Like I said, we get a lot of press and attention from like the metal crowd, which is great because I love metal too. But teenage me, industrial.
Absolutely.
That's what I grew up on. That's the stuff that I know.
That's where the mesh shirt came from.
Right. And you don't, like you said, you don't hear about that too much.
No.
Not because it's not relevant anymore. It's just it kind of faded to the background in America. And, you know, it's like the cycle moves on to like the next thing, like the next big thing, the next dangerous thing. There was a point in time where industrial was very dangerous. Not so dangerous. It's pretty household now. In some capacity, like you hear a lot of electronic elements in music now where it's like you wouldn't even call it industrial.
Right.
But in my head, I'm like, oh, I remember when that was new. And then I reflect back on like Skinny Puppy, Godflesh, I feel like is another one you'll hear about a lot. Yeah. Yeah,
KMFDM and all that.
KMFDM, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to name drop because I feel like there's somebody that you and I will both know from Sachem.
All right.
Industrial Jim. Do you remember that guy?
Yes. There we go.
There you go. I used to hang out with him.
He was the only kid. He was the only kid.
The only one.
He was in my, I want to say he was in my grade.
He was 2 years older than me, so I think he was a grade below you. What was his last name? You can tell me later.
I'm trying to think of it. I know exactly what you're talking about because he was the only kid in the entire fucking Sachem who had like Skinny Puppy t-shirts on. And I was
that was how I met him.
I got to know this kid.
That was how I met him because I was 2 years younger, so we were never in the high school at the same time. But we hung out. We used to talk keyboards. We used to talk albums and all the things we're talking about right now. So I might have met you through him at some point. I used to go to Record Stop with him.
Oh my God, Record Stop!
And he was like kind of like this cool older kid that he's like kind of had been through. He had been through it, and I was just getting into it, and like we were both. I had a Skinny Puppy hat. I remember And he was very chill. He didn't make me feel like I was like this. He didn't condescend me, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
This is going back 99. I'm talking like.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, you got to respect people like that, man. He didn't care about trends. He liked what he liked, and he didn't care about anybody, what they thought of him.
Yeah,
he was very cool, and I hope his ears are ringing. And I, what's up if you hear this?
I did see him at some point after high school.
I did too.
He was working at Cheesecake Factory with my cousin, and he became friends with my cousin. And I met him on a camping trip. And we were sitting around a campfire. I'm like, "You're Industrial Jim, aren't you?"
Wow.
And it was cool. It was like we caught up for a little bit, and that was the last time I saw him. So that was like 2003 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That still a long time ago.
Probably same with me. I remember seeing him in the mall, like 2 years after high school. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And that was it.
Cool guy.
He was. I'm gonna try to find him now after this.
Yeah. I don't know what his last name is.
I'll if I find him on Facebook, I'll shoot you a link.
Please.
And Record Stop, man, it's back. I don't know if you know that.
It is back, right?
In Patchogue.
Is it in a different location? Yeah,
Yeah, it's in Patchogue. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. It's nice. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it does well. It does well. It's not like you're like, oh man, this place is gonna close down. Like it's always busy, and the people in there are so cool, and they really like hook you up. Good prices.
I didn't realize the importance of vinyl enthusiasts until we started selling vinyl. I'm not a vinyl enthusiast myself,
right?
But a lot goes into it. There's a major appreciation for it. It is not an outdated form of media because I feel like shows where we made the most sales was shows where once we started selling vinyl.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing we sell the most, I feel like, is T-shirts and vinyl. CDs, we never sold CDs very well. Online sales have always been pretty consistent, but vinyl is like really where it's at.
Right.
And it just made me view things very differently. So when I hear that a record store is coming back, like you probably heard that Rough Trade is moving to Times Square.
Yeah.
My first thought was like, oh, that sucks. No. Good for them. They're moving on up. They're moving. Right. They're successful enough to buy property in Times Square. Not cheap. That's where the tourists are. So it kind of makes sense. And I'm glad to see that art form still going. And I would say there was probably a point where I was like, I don't get why I'm being pressured to sell vinyl. I don't care enough about it. But once our label was like, no, make vinyl. Trust us. You're going to see it's going to pay off.
Right.
And they were right. Right. So when I hear something like Record Stop and making a comeback, great. Yeah. I have a lot of memories with it. Is it the same crew?
It's not the old guy that used to be there, who was
the big tall guy.
Who honestly was just kind of miserable all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone in there
he was grumpy. He was
so fucking grumpy.
Nice. He was very nice to me sometimes because I think he knew that I really love music.
Right.
I remember hiding a CD or a cassette in the store because I didn't want someone to buy it. And I think that pissed him off because he's like, you could put the stuff behind the counter. I'll hold on to it for you.
Yeah.
He just didn't like that I was hiding stuff in the store.
Right.
I wasn't stealing it. I didn't want someone to buy it. And it was bad. I remember he giving me an attitude about that. But
yeah.
He was nice. He used to cut me a deal every now and then.
Yeah. Right. I had the same experience with him. He was hot and cold.
Yeah.
But I'm a physical media guy. It's great to have the shit on your phone. It's so convenient. You know what I mean? But the sound of vinyl is where it's at. Yeah. Once again, my brother, when he was, when I was younger, he had turntables. He was a DJ. And that's where I heard all this music. I heard it all on vinyl. And the richness of the sound of it is incomparable to a CD. I hate CDs. I really do. I think they sound terrible. And I mean, at this point, CDs are dead. There's not even CD players in cars anymore.
Yep. They don't make that anymore.
So really, vinyl's where it's at. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I went on Bandcamp and I was like, I want Housefly on vinyl. And it's not there.
It's coming. That's the thing. We released it during a pandemic, so it didn't really...
Right.
It was something we didn't know how long, it was going to be before we did shows. So we weren't going to drop all this money to make vinyl and then just hold on to it and then try to push it online. Because it's better to push it at shows. It's coming.
Okay.
Definitely coming.
Cool.
We have to remaster the studio tracks. It shouldn't take too much time. It's already in progress, so it is coming because I want it to.
Right.
I want it to.
Yeah.
I want to hear what it would sound like with the crispiness. I hear you. It is coming. I know there's a demand for it. Definitely, Housefly is getting the vinyl treatment.
I'm very excited to hear that. Very excited to hear that.
Yeah.
Because you did have a tough time with. I mean, I just want to go through the albums real quick. So, the first one, 2013, if I'm correct, The Briefcase, first EP.
There's one before that.
There's one before that.
Yeah, there's one before that was self-released. It was before we were on a label. It was called "This Is Your Brain on Bugs."
Okay.
That one, very, 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 very bratty vocals, punk rock. There's a lot of apparently a lot of Primus influence on that one. That was when we were kind of getting our footing, kind of figuring out what our sound is. So it's not as industrial as like the later albums became. Briefcase was the first one that was released on a label, and that was the first one that got like steady PR attention. That one kind of put us on the map. So The Briefcase did come out in 2013. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, yeah, because I couldn't find the first one on at least Apple Music. I don't know if
no, it's not on Apple Music.
It's not on anything.
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. Okay.
I took it down because I kind of wanted it to be like a bonus. And then I started getting emails from around the world saying, "Hey, where's that album? I used to have it. I just switched computers there, stuff like that." And I was like surprised, like there was such an interest in it.
Right.
So it's worth checking out. It's a good album.
All right, cool. I gotta check that one out.
I hated it for the longest time. Like kind of like
well, everyone hates their first things, you know.
But then I spent enough time away from it that I listened to it like with like a fresh set of ears. And I was like, oh, it's actually a fun album. I could see why people liked it. So it's worth listening to.
Sure. I'm the same way, man. Like when you ask me, you know, where can I check out your podcast? And, you know, you're like, oh, I'm going to check out the Eddie Gita episode. I'm like, awesome, man. But like, I was sucked then. You know what I mean? Like I was and obviously I've gotten better, but.
It's good to be self-aware like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of like I'm monitoring my craft and my how I do things. So it's good to be that way. So it's healthy to be that way. But I'll tell you right now, you were great.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
It was great. It was great. There was nothing stood out to me like, oh wow, this guy's flow is fucking weird and all. No, there was nothing like that. No, but someone who takes that crap very seriously would be critical of something they did in the past, of course.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate that. The next couple albums, Narco Paloma, 2016, and Ribbon Cutter, 2018, no vocals.
Narco did not have vocals.
Right.
Narco Paloma. Ribbon Cutter had one song with vocals.
Okay.
That I was kind of bringing it back at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So but it is ultimately an instrumental album.
Well, what was the reasoning behind that?
I was writing music that was so complicated that it was hard to find a moment in which I was writing. It was very music centric first. Like the vocals were always sort of secondary. I was holding myself to a particular standard where I was just like, no, I got to write something very complex here. And I was basically expressing myself through the bass only. And yeah, that's really the description.
Yeah.
That's really the ultimate reason. It was just like I was just very focused on the craft of the bass. And I'm assuming your next question would be like, why did you bring back vocals?
Yeah, on Housefly, yeah.
I had a lot of personal experiences where I felt like I was ready to scream my head off again.
Right, and in a way, I was kind of hoping that was going to be the answer. Like, I had nothing to say.
Yeah,
you know.
I always have something to say. Just how I was saying it was different. You know.
Right.
And I felt like I had something to say. Also, transitioning to keyboard, with a synthesizer, you can say a lot with less notes.
Okay.
So
Right.
writing less notes, it's easier to sing.
Okay, that's cool.
So it was also a convenient thing as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, it would be irresponsible of me to not sing over this right now because I have a lot of dead space. Not dead space, just a lot of like open air.
Right.
I was like, you know what? This is a very loud, abrasive song. It could use some vocals. And
Sure.
A lot of the songs had that. And everything that we've written after Housefly stuff that we're writing now, everything's going to have vocals, probably.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So all these albums, now you mentioned before, some dark times, all these albums were made completely sober.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about this. Being sober does not equal like stability and health. It doesn't.
Sure.
A lot of people think that. They think that sobriety, particularly when it comes to certain musicians, like it's not inspiring. Being sober is not inspiring. It's like that's a very toxic way to think.
Yeah.
It's like not in terms of, oh, I'm healthy and I'm not being challenged in any way. I'm not being emotionally tortured in any way. Sobriety does not mean that. Sobriety does not mean that you are not emotionally tortured still, that you are not that you are healthy. Sobriety does not mean that. So you could still be challenged by like what life throws at you, even when you're sober, and then channel that into music.
Right.
So, but that also can happen with addiction.
Yeah.
That can also happen with addiction. But I would even argue that if you're sober and experiencing something that's very terrible, you're more stable and you have better control over how you want to express that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I don't want to say everybody. I'm saying a lot of people, you just hear that conversation come up a lot. Like, oh, this musician was better when he was on drugs, or this musician was better when he was, doing cocaine all the time, and now his music sucks. It's just like that's a very closed-minded way to think.
Yeah.
I think you're more looking at when you discovered that music with rose-colored glasses.
Sure. And do you want the same thing over and over again? Like here's a perfect example. Metallica, right?
Metallica.
Everyone always says, oh, they were so much better when they were drinking, that's a fucked up thing to think, first of all. And I don't know if any of them had really problems, but they were partying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe their newer albums aren't as good, but do you want the same fucking thing over and over again? Or do you want someone's different experience from what they're experiencing?
The thing with Metallica, I've had this conversation a lot recently. They're one of those bands that did change their sound. Jesus Christ, they've been around for 40 years. Like, do you want the same sound? Like,
right.
I think it's noble of them to like put out like Saint Anger. I think Saint Anger is a good album.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is very interesting. That snare drum is weird. I like it though. I like the pinginess. And that's the thing that everybody it's like the butt of the joke of that album.
The trash can.
But they were trying something different. They were trying different vocal hooks and everything. Then you have the album. I think it's called Death Magnetic.
Yes.
That album cranks.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to give them credit for just trying different things, because like when you watch that documentary, what's it called? Monster.
Some kind of monster.
Mm-hmm. They even say, and this is 20 years ago, they're like, oh, that riff sounds kind of stock. Right. That's being self-aware of what you're putting out.
Right.
And I think that's a healthy way to be as a musician. So, like, if you're saying, "Oh, that sounds like a stock riff," let's not use it. That's a smart move, in my opinion. It's just like we did that already. That's a healthy way to be.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. And if you want to hear Master of Puppets, go listen to Master of Puppets.
Go listen to Master of Puppets.
Don't expect them to put it out for your fucking whatever you want. Yeah,
they're multi-millionaires. They don't need.
They don't even need to make an album again. Yeah.
They don't need to.
Right.
Jason Newsted, he doesn't need to do anything. He's still making royalties off of I don't know, 1 or 2 of the albums that he recorded on. He doesn't. He even said in an interview recently he doesn't need to make music anymore.
Right.
He actually broke up his band that was called Newstead. He's like, oh, that band's done.
Yeah.
And it has his name on it. He doesn't. He could do whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
Now think of the guys that are still in Metallica. They make a lot more than he does. They don't need to do anything for anybody. So the fact that they're still doing music is what you get. That's what you get as a spectator. You know.
That's it. Yeah. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
You know? That's it.
Yeah. You should keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. The fact that you want someone to be like, you know, in danger of destroying their lives to get a good album is like fucking insanity.
Talk about the sobriety versus addiction.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Yeah, Metallica. Yeah, they like you want, like, you got to remember this is a person. This is a person.
Right.
Hashtag.
We forget that.
Hashtag free Britney. You
know?
Like we forget. You know what I mean? Like like these are people, and like, you know, to wish, like, it's easy to separate your normal life from their life is like a bigger than life celebrity worldview. It is easy to separate yourself. So I'm not going to shit on anyone that's just like, oh, that person is, you know, they'll never see life my way. But the fact is, they're still a fragile being, you know?
Right.
And you know, I never thought I would say that, like maybe 10 years ago. But it's true.
It is. It is true. Yeah.
It's like they're just as vulnerable to what life throws at them as the average person.
Right.
They have better resources to like combat that, but they just face a different set of challenges.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the point is, it's just kind of crappy to say, oh, I wish that musician was still on drugs.
Right.
So that I could appreciate their product more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? That's not even necessarily true. I don't think that if someone's sober and does an album that it sucks. It's different because they're different. They're in a different space, and you should be happy for that space. And so
this is going to sound very on brand for me, but this is an argument I've heard a lot about Trent Reznor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people like, oh, downward spiral. You know, he was on a lot of drugs. He was drinking a lot. He almost killed himself. And his music is not as good now. I disagree. I like everything he puts out. He could do no wrong. Everything he puts out is different. It's just it's very negative to think that oh, I wish that he was still. He would be dead now, you idiot.
Oh, without a doubt.
Came out almost 30 years ago. You know, like, if that album was about suicide then, if he was still in that mindset, I think he would have crossed the line. Yeah,
I mean, listen, that's easily one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece, but it's insanely dark.
Very
dark. He wouldn't have made it to the point now where I'm watching a movie and I'm like, Trent Reznor did the score.
Yeah.
And Atticus Ross. And you can tell it's him. That's how fucking good he is.
Yeah. Or a Disney movie too.
Yeah.
He went from Fuck You Like an Animal to doing Disney movies.
Right.
So,
Soul, right?
Soul.
Soul.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be doing more Disney movies. Who knows? Point is, he evolved as a musician, and he's successful at doing what he's been doing.
Right.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he's a music nerd. He's a nerd. And he made a career doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, like why would you wish bad on him?
Right. Exactly.
to suit something that you want. You want another dark album. Okay, we get it. Go listen to something else. Like, if it's not dark enough for you.
Right. Go listen to the fucking album in the first place.
Right. Just go listen to that if you're going to be such a baby.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. What is the future of Bangladeafy? What's next for you guys?
Hard to say, because another benefit of being a teacher is I get a lot of time off.
Mm-hmm.
That was a move that I made in accordance with my life as a musician. because I wasn't getting enough time off to tour. We're still in a pandemic, so try not to jump the gun and book a tour that will ultimately get canceled.
Sure.
We were supposed to tour for Housefly. You were supposed to get your vinyl. You were supposed to get all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was all supposed to be part of it. And while we were recording it, it was like, the world is canceled. You can't do anything for the unforeseeable future. I thought it was going to be at least 5 years before I hit a stage.
Sure.
I just played my first show back 3 weeks ago, and I'm very thankful for it. That it was way less than 5 years. Looks like there's probably going to be another series of shutdowns. I don't know. But if things turn out good, we should be touring next summer. The label's talking about sending us to China.
Whoa.
Because we have connections with China. So world tour, Bangladeafy world tour is a possibility.
That's sick.
And we're always writing music. There's always a batch of new babies that are always in progress. So the new music assembly line is always in full effect.
That's exciting, man. I really hope that comes through for you next year. Who knows what anything's going to be, but hopefully it'll speed up this time.
Yep. And you'll get your vinyl.
And we'll get the vinyl. Now, I'm looking at it like this. I'm looking at the vinyl as the album's coming out. Like
that's the thing.
And you're going on tour. You know what I mean? Like
traditionally,
fuck 2020.
Yeah. we put out the vinyl for Ribbon Cutter.
Yeah.
That came after the album release. So the album release, that cycle was done, like in terms of press and everything. And then we were able to do like another smaller cycle, just as a vinyl announcement. I was like, to me, like I said, like I don't really have an attachment. I'm not a vinyl enthusiast. So I was just like, oh yeah, it's just another product that we're putting out. But the people ate that shit up.
Yeah.
They ate it up. It was just like, oh wow, I feel like we got like a second wave off of an album that I already put out. It was great.
Right.
And it's probably going to get the same thing for that. It'll be a vinyl release tour.
That's
I'm
fucking awesome, man.
My worldview on vinyl changed from the first time I put it out. So,
And let me know when those T-shirts come out because
I
want a shirt so bad, but none of them. It's either small or like 5X.
No. We're putting out Housefly shirts as well. It's going to be all sizes. It's
awesome.
I think it's made to order. That's the thing. Like
they're sold out.
No. It's going to be made to order. I think we're working with a different company now. I don't even know all the specifics because luckily we have a really good relationship with our label. So like I'm kind of like I think that's what they told me. So Nefarious Industries, I'm telling you, they know how to treat their roster right.
That's great, man. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm really excited for all that, man. And man, this was great. This really was. I really enjoyed talking to you, and like going down memory lane a little bit.
Yeah. Industrial Gym.
What's crazy is Industrial Gym. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah.
It'll come. I can look in a yearbook, maybe, because he was a year.
He was a year
off from me.
I think,
a year younger than me.
He was 2 years older than me.
Yeah. I think I'll find him in the yearbook if I can find. First, I got to find the yearbook. But when I booked this podcast, I didn't realize I have a concert tonight, man. I'm going to a concert.
Oh, where?
Tonight at Jones Beach.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah.
I don't like Jones Beach. It has a purpose.
It has a purpose. Listen.
Wait, who's playing Jones Beach?
Hall & Oates.
Oh, okay. All right. Classic. I saw the Who there. So yeah, that's the spot where you would see Hall & Oates.
I bought the tickets 2 years ago. I bought like a bunch of tickets, and it was canceled last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was put off to this year, and tonight's the night. And it's the first time I've been to a concert since 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
No. I mean, I've been out of the house and stuff, but like I haven't been to a show. I actually just bought Glassjaw tickets for next year.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm hoping that they're gonna be that's gonna still happen. They're doing the whole Worship and Tribute album from beginning to end.
Yes,
right here at the Paramount.
Do you know if they're playing Brooklyn? I think they're playing St. Vitus as well. They probably, if it's not announced, it probably will be eventually. And if I'm not at the Paramount, I'll be at that one.
Yeah.
In
Well,
the city. They're playing in the city.
that'd be great if you were there, man. I'm going on because they're doing Friday and Saturday. So I'm going to be there Saturday. And I bought fucking seats because I'm too old to like GA anymore, dude.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, man. Either one, I'll kill somebody, or two, I'll break a leg or my own leg. You know what I mean? So like, it's just not going to work out for me anymore. That's it. Yeah. So Hall & Oates tonight, man. You should cover Hall & Oates as Bangladeafy.
We
that would be insane.
We have tossed around ideas for covers before.
Yeah,
that would catch people off guard. And
just because they're a duo, you know what I'm saying?
They're a duo. Yeah, no, I figure that's what you bet.
Yeah,
sure. I'm not against it.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I have one more question I ask everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cheesy, but on a scale from 1 to hell fucking yeah, how excited were you to be here today?
How excited was I to do this today?
To be here today, yeah.
Hell fucking yeah +5 because I was pacing back and forth.
My biggest one.
Like, it's been a while since I did an interview, and I was just like, am I out of practice? Am I gonna be like really awkward? I blew my nose, and I was just like, I don't want any boogers to fly out while I do this interview, so I gotta make sure because it's all on camera, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Did anything come out?
No, you were totally clean. You did great, and I really enjoyed having you on here, man. And I feel like I got a new friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll bump into each other.
Yeah. A new friend from the past.
Yeah.
You know?
I know that we've seen each other at some point.
Definitely. Like I said, I'm 40 now, so long life for me. I had my troubles for a while. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me. I had like a million acquaintances and like 5 solid friends. That's how I've always been.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So we definitely met up somewhere, and I hope to meet you up again, man.
Yeah, likewise.
John, thank you so much again for your time. And
no problem.
hell fucking yeah, man.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon. I'm gonna get in touch with you about Jim. I'm gonna find him.
I gotta know. I looked him up a while ago, and I was like, I don't remember what his last name was.
Yeah, it's coming. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll figure it out. I'm pretty good like that.
Please do.
All right, John.
Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Peace.
It's the Hell Fucking Yeah podcast.